Amanda here, and Gerry, and Aletha from createyourfuture.co. So guys, we have a really exciting video today. I absolutely love this topic about everything being empty and meaningless until you assign it substance and meaning. So whatever you assume to be true will be reflected back in your 3D reality. So yeah, that's why I use Gerry, because empty and meaningless, teddy bear can't mean anything. So we've got a really exciting video. I also will share a success story about how making people's behavior empty, like the reason for their behavior empty and meaningless and not giving it meaning, how you can actually recreate someone a lot faster. Just before we dive into it, guys, Aletha's having a sale on her coaching, nearly 50% off. She's had some great client feedback, guys. She helped somebody go from completely anxious to totally loving life and many other things. So guys, you know what, definitely check out the link in the description below. Really a pleasure chatting with Aletha. And yeah, also guys, we're having a contest, as you know, just details in the description. MailChimp, we have a mailing list if you want to know of any sales that we're having. Yeah, and also I think that's about it. Actually, I've run out of things to say. Look at that. Anyway, so yes, let's dive into this about how we can change people by, how giving nothing any meaning. So Aletha, welcome.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here. Yes, because we're going to talk about everything is empty and meaningless until we assign it substance and meaning. So the assumptions and the thoughts that we have about everything in life, ourselves, our SPs, people, situations, those assumptions will manifest into our life. They're reflected back to us. And then what God says, because of your belief in external things, you think power into them by transferring the power that you are to that external thing. So he says, realize you yourself are the power. You have mistakenly given that power out into the outer things, which is the 3D, so that we are the actual power. So many times I'll coach people that they're waiting for that SP to change before this or that can happen. But the truth is, we need to change how we're seeing and thinking about the SP, of what we're assuming about that person before they're going to change, because everything comes from within and then is projected out. So we are conditioned to assume that our power comes from something or someone outside of us. We're also conditioned to assume that our past and our current circumstances are solid and real, but they're not. They're just illusions of past thoughts. What is really solid and real is what's going on inside of you, your mental diet, your imaginal acts that you have, conversations within yourself. That's what's real. We also are conditioned to assume that our circumstances are dependent on other people or situations changing before anything can move forward with our goal. Again, totally incorrect. We are also conditioned to assume we are powerless and at the mercy of others, and we're not. Not at all. They're actually at our mercy. How we perceive them, how we assume them to be, the meaning we give to them is how they're going to show up. They have no other option but to conform to that. We are conditioned that the people in our 3D reality have free will over us, and they do not. We are our own universe, and we're the only ones with free will in that universe, and no one else has it but us. We are in control. We make the rules. And then we are also conditioned to assume that we are limited because we must wait for others to change before we achieve our goals. And again, that's not true. We're only limited because we are assuming certain things about those people or that situation that's then reflecting out, projected out of us into, and then being reflected back. So we need to just change the way we assume things, change our assumptions. So we realize that nothing has any meaning until we assign it meaning. And whatever we assume to be true becomes our truth. And I don't know how many times in my life I've just heard my higher self say to me, I'll say, oh my gosh, do I have some awful illness? Because I'll get a pain. It's like, only if you wanted to. It's whatever I assume to be true is going to be my truth. What you think or assume about a person or situation always reflects back to you. And everyone and everything must conform to your assumptions of them. We have all the power. And when you change how you see the person or the situation, by giving that a new meaning to that, then that situation or that person's going to change according to that new meaning or that assumption. And if you assume that an SP has power over you, then you've given them your power, and that will be reflected back to you. And then people and things only have power over you because you give it to them. We are the operant power of our lives. So there are some intentions that we can look at, but I am so happy and grateful is a phrase that I like, that I am so happy and grateful that I am the operant power of reality, or my reality. I am so happy and grateful that no one has any free will in my reality but me, that I make all the rules. And that I am so happy and grateful that everyone and everything must conform to the assumptions that I make about things and people. So we just need to ask ourselves some questions of like, what meanings or assumptions have I assigned to myself, to my SP, to other people in my world, my family members, friends, to society, to the world? What are we assuming about those things? Because whatever that assumption is, whatever that meaning is, it's going to reflect back to you. So we need to check that. Are the people and the situations in your reality showing up exactly as you want them to? It's really important to just make a list of all your assumptions on situations, especially if there's a person or someone that is not treating you in the way that you want them. What are your assumptions about that person? Why are they treating you that way? And check in on that. So what are you assuming about that person that needs to be changed? And I think you have a really cool story on that subject, don't you?
I do. Like I've always said, you know what, if you don't want to be disrespected by somebody, don't make their behavior mean that they're disrespecting you, because, that's the basis of all reacting. You know what I mean? So let's say Gerry's late to pick me up and I think, oh, he doesn't respect my time. So him being late isn't a big deal. But as soon as I give it the meaning that he doesn't respect my time, that's it. I'm upset. You know what I mean? So it's changing the meaning we give their behavior. It's empty and meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. So I may have in past and said to somebody, Gerry's always late. So now Gerry's always late. And then I give it a second story by going, oh, he disrespects me. So now I've got to clean up him being late, and I got to clean up the whole, disrespecting story, right? So the funny thing is to change somebody. I've got a story about this. I remember there used to be this friend in my life, and every time they texted me or had anything to say to me, I would always feel anxious and worried, because I always felt like they were complaining that what I did wasn't good enough and that they were this totally needy diva person, right? And when I really just stopped and I went, oh, you know what? That's really not what their behavior means. Their behavior doesn't have to mean that. I'm just giving it that meaning. As soon as I got sick of my story of basically making these assumptions about the meaning of their behavior, and I started changing that, going, no, they just want to, do well. They just want to have, I always felt like they were asking me for stuff, right? And I'm like, no, they just want to be a better person. They just want, help in their life, and they're not doing it for any other reason, and when I changed my story about them, right? And then I was like, oh, and the weight just lifted. And now I love talking to this friend of mine, right? So, it's what the meaning we give their behavior. But at the end of the day, right? If you say Gerry's late, Gerry's late. It doesn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything when you said it. But when we start assigning meanings to these things that we create, and we are meaning-making machines, we can completely rile ourselves up and having us reacting and be stuck in this complete story that seems like this huge web. So whenever possible, don't give anything meaning, okay? It's remind yourself it's empty and meaningless. But if you're still in the habit, because we are meaning-making machines, of giving something a meaning, always give it a good meaning, a meaning that puts you in line with your end goal, right? Because, if you want Gerry to be on time and respect you, then saying, you know what, he's never picks me up on time, he's always late because he doesn't respect my time, that story is definitely not in line with your end goal, right? So, we want to really, like Aletha said, identify the assumptions that we have, right? And stop giving things a bad meaning, and that'll stop us from reacting in those moments, right?
Yeah, and one of the best ways to really catch those assumptions, because we can just go through our day busy and not realize we're assuming certain things until we have like a V8 moment, you know, like, oh, I could have, you know, we have that moment where it just dawns on you. But if we sit down and then we write them out, I think that really helps, because then we get more clarity. And then the next thing you do, if you make a list of what your assumptions are that may not be in alignment, or probably are not in alignment with what you want to achieve or to manifest in your life, then write the opposite of what you do want. You know, make another list with the assumptions that are going to be supportive of your desire that you want. And like Amanda said, you know, I've had such similar situations too, where people haven't been treating me the way that I would like. And then it dawns on me that, oh my gosh, I'm having negative thoughts every time I go near that person. I'm thinking, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. So then I decide to change it. And to the opposite, oh no, they love and adore me. They always treat me with respect and they value me. Same thing that happened with Amanda. And then they changed it like in 2 days. It was just amazing. So our thoughts create, and our assumptions create, and the meanings that we place on things make a difference in our lives. And of course, and with everything, it's like I'm always saying, persist. You have to persist in your new assumptions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Persistence is key. But, you know, and it's doing your intentions enough where you feel that internal shift that you're okay with it. So, you know, and I know some people are like, oh, you know, just do intentions until you feel good about it. No, I do intentions until I see a change in my reality, because, you know, it's like, okay, you have like one negative thought, you don't feel bad. You have 2 negative thoughts about the person, you don't feel bad. Then you have 10 or 20, and all of a sudden that's really when the bad feeling starts to happen. Well, then when you start having a good thought, then you feel less bad, and then so on and so forth. So it could constantly be a you know, a back and forth, right? Where you slip up and say something. So or think something. So I always say persist in what you want until you see it. Okay. Because your thoughts create, and whatever you focus on is going to expand. So, you know, I don't believe in the, oh, do intentions until you feel good and then drop it. Oh, heck no, never drop your desire. Drop your old story. Drop the assumptions that don't serve you. Still maintain focus on your new story. And here's a really good example of that. If I'm in a relationship with Andrew and Gerry, and if I always want Andrew and Gerry to want to be in a relationship with me, I always have to maintain that story at some level inside of me. As soon as I have a thought that Andrew and Gerry don't want to be with me, then they're going to walk off and not want to be with me. So, you know, and it's not, you know, it's an ever flowing thing, right? Like, and if you were to ask me, hey, how's Andrew? Oh, he's great. We're still together, you know, or you say you're still together. I still have to say, yes, we're still together. So you still have to maintain that story at some level. Of course, when you first start shifting it, you got to do it a lot more. But you can't ever go back and say, oh, yeah, we're not together, or I can't talk about it. I have to drop it, or he's going to leave me. Do you get what I'm saying? You've got to maintain that story for as long as you want that story to be in play. And, you know, and it's just the amount of attention you're going to need to give it. You'll need to give it more energy in the beginning to shift it. But then you still have to maintain that story and not deviate from it when it does come up in your life. You know, like you have a fight, you know, with Gerry, and Gerry's all mad. And you're thinking, oh, maybe he doesn't want to be with me. No, he doesn't want to be with me. You know, there's always those times where things are going to come up because, well, we can think. That's the problem. We can think.
Right, right. And we're so sometimes geared to negative that we need to rehearse. We need to rehearse the positive. We need to keep saying these things and not to drop it, but to keep it fresh in our minds. So it's a real good practice to start your day with your intentions that you want your life, you know, that are life what you want. Go to bed at night with those intentions, over lunch if you can, you know, or whenever. But you need to, and after a while, and maybe you need to have a paper in your hand that it'll be so rehearsed and so much a part of you because you've gone over it so many times that it's natural. And in the moment of anxiety or the moment of something hitting you in the face that you weren't expecting, your intention comes immediately to you. Oh no, I am this, or whatever it would be. So yeah,
exactly. I love that. Rehearse it, because, you know, like as Elvis said, life's a play and everybody must play its part. And you are the director of that play. You're the writer of that play. You're the producer of that play. You know, and you move all the characters around in your play. So, you know, right now, if you take a look in your life and like Aletha said, is write out everything that's not working for you in a relationship and then change it to the positive, right? You know, if you're being disrespected, you know, start changing your story that they respect you, or just give it no meaning and, you know, accept the fact that you know, you created them to do something and then gave it the meaning that they don't respect you, because I mean, you created it all to begin with. And I know sometimes it can be hard, but you forgive yourself. It's no big deal. And you know what you can even say? You can even say that the person that all this happened with, they don't even remember any of it. They totally let it go and forgot about it. And they will. I've done it. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty magical.
So, yeah, and I think I actually learned that from you. You know, something goes wrong in my life where I do something that I think is stupid, and then I'm going to think someone else is going to think it's stupid. And then having listened to you, I change it. No, they only think what I think they're thinking. So I'm going to think that they're thinking something good about that situation, as opposed to me beating myself up and having them do it too. So,
Exactly. That's what Gerry always does too. See, everything he does is empty and meaningless. He's just a teddy bear. He has no meaning. That's why I love using him for everyone, as you pushed out. So guys, well, thank you so much today for being here, Aletha. Gerry enjoyed this video.
it's fun.
It is fun. And I was on Facebook today and I was commenting on some stuff. People had pictures of Gerry. I was like, oh, there's Gerry, because I was looking for my own Gerry. I couldn't find where he was, but he was hiding in the cupboard. So, and guys, thank you for joining us today. I hope everybody got something out of this. And thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And yeah, when we share with somebody our videos, it's caring, because they can change their lives with it. And that's what we're all here to do. So again, remember, if you'd like any personalized help, definitely check out the link in the description below for coaching. If not, you know what? All of our videos give it all away. So you can definitely create it for yourself just by watching our videos, because you guys are powerful and you guys all have the power to create and live the life that you want to live. So we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.